Okay, I'm recording this with regards to my personal project, which was on development and irrigation. I had to bring this product back because it was too big. So actually, we'd like to start over here, which is I'll just like to go with the flow of my actual presentation. So if we come over here around the back, in the window we'll actually see a scroll, and this scroll actually includes information about, as you can see, the history of irrigation. It includes information about all the methods that were used in those times. And as you can see here, please refer to the pictures at the rooftop. Over here, we can actually see those pictures and they correspond with this. So it includes information about when they were used and what they look like. If anybody wants to know how they work, then of course, please refer to the scroll. We'll turn it around. It opens like this. So actually turn around, and next of course was the modern methods of irrigation that I used, and they're actually at the front of the house. That's because this is what we see most of the time. So the modern methods of irrigation have been put in this. It has 4 pictures, all corresponding to the methods of irrigation, and the information is on different triangles. This one is surface or flood irrigation, this one's drip irrigation, that is sprinkler systems, and that is center pivot systems. That is another variation of the sprinkler systems. I mentioned these in my presentation as well. I've actually made a representation of these in my product. If you can actually see down here, this is where the drip irrigation is. You can see the pipes and the matchsticks, which are actually stopping the flow of water and making sure that it actually drips and doesn't completely block it. Because if it wasn't put, then the water would come up with a lot of force, which is not what drip irrigation is. In fact, a lot of force is actually needed in the sprinkler systems, and that is why I've put this, to make sure the surroundings don't get wet. The sprinkler systems have been made using a pen, and some holes have been made. So the motor forces the water up, and the water thus flows out of those holes and waters the plants. Now, of course, this is meant for small to large areas, and this is medium to large areas, and this is quite a small area, so this was quite necessary. The next thing after modern is the future, and in the future, that's my name. In the future, in the doorway, I've actually written this information, which is about the SCADA systems and remote sensing and everything that is actually going to be used in the future. And if we actually see inside the house, I've written some more information. I've gone in depth with the SCADA systems. So I'll be taking pictures of all of this, of this entire house, and will be putting them in the USB key along with this video. Now, of course, the future also includes hydroponics, which I have featured over here, right at the corner of our presentation. This is growing crops with only the use of water and nutrient-filled water, and actually I've done that. As you can see here are the roots, which were completely submerged in water, which is turning yellowish because of the roots. They've actually seek the water, and as I said, it's done with no soil and only water. And this was actually one of the more interesting ones, because I did this twice, and this one was the best result. So let's actually go about how I made an automated system to make sure the farm stays watered at all times. So what I did was, actually this thing needs the use of 2 batteries, one this one and one that one, because it needs to power 2 things. I used the Arduino Mega board, actually, or an Arduino kit for this, that came in with the soil humidity sensor. So I had to program the humidity sensor in a way that if the humidity is less, the signal goes to the Arduino, and thus this relay starts up, which actually takes the signal to this USB port to which the motor is connected, and the signal travels through the wire to the motor, which starts the water. The water tanker is actually under the house, and the motor is fitted inside of it. The other thing it does is when the soil humidity is less, is the red light starts up, and when the relay starts up, the yellow light starts up. It also makes a sound, so brace yourself. I'm going to demonstrate how it works. So right now I've actually watered this one and not really any of those, to show how the humidity sensor actually works. So as the soil humidity is low, the sensor works and tells the farmer, or me in this case, that the water is low and actually needs water. Now, of course, I haven't started the motor yet. That's because I didn't want to fry it, basically. But I've connected it to this battery. I'll actually take this off. I'll switch it just so I can show everything how it works. So I'm going to start the motor now. I want everybody to focus on these two. So here we go. As you can see, that is a sprinkler system in action. I will actually take the sound off. Alright, so that is a sprinkler system in action. As you see, it has quite a lot of force in it, so this part is necessary. And down here, we can see the drip irrigation, and it's working actually quite well. Now, this won't be a successful thing if it didn't stop when the water was enough. So let me put it to this, which is actually wet and has a lot of humidity. Immediately, you see the sprinkler system stops. The drip irrigation stops because it has been planned this way. The motor is still connected but doesn't work. And here's the blue light, which shows that the soil is actually humid enough and there is plenty of water for it to go right now. The humidity I programmed in was 300. And of course that's above 300, that's why. So this was my product. It was an absolute blast to make. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.